The Inclusion for All project was conducted with the financial and technical support from World Vision Canada. It was implemented in 2010-2011 at Enimai and Tulo Warada World Vision Ethiopia area development programs. People with impairments were devoid of their rights to education, health, and other social services which they are entitled to. This newly designed program, Inclusion for All project, is aimed at improving access of people with disabilities in the social and health sectors.
World
Vision gives due consideration for the benefit of vulnerable groups of a community. These people with disabilities, especially children, are grouped under this category.
World Vision Ethiopia had believed that all stakeholders, government, the public, the community, funding partners, donors, and civil society organizations have a role to play to fill this gap. Persons with disabilities themselves and their organizations in the community have a role to play in mainstreaming the issue of disability in all development programs. In line with this, World Vision Ethiopia provided training for all stakeholders to raise their awareness of its program sites.
Before the training, we had negative attitudes. We assumed as if people with disabilities are not able to work and learn. But after the training, we have seen tangibly that people with disabilities have the capacity to change their lives. We have seen some changes after the training. Those people with disabilities who were forgotten and taken as if something useless got recognition from the community after the training. Now the community and the government have given attention for people with disabilities.
Awareness creation workshops deployed for parents of children with disabilities, elders, and teachers led to reducing the impact of stigma and discrimination of people with disabilities and increased inclusion of disabled children into schools.
The attitude which I had before I took the training was totally different from what I have now. I was ashamed to send my daughter to school. But after the training, I have started advising others about the importance of sending disabled children to school. We took the training at different times in different formats. We took the training before and after the opening of a special needs school. Hence, our negative attitude towards people with disabilities that we had before is now changing.
Many people negatively associate disability with some kind of abnormality or disorder. People have a biased attitude on disability because they have no idea what they should do with it. They often think it is punishment from God, a revenge of ancestors, or a result of witchcraft. Therefore, basically, the training of people with disabilities and their parents is aimed at creating awareness on the correct meaning of disabilities and its causes to avoid misconception and understanding the relationship between disabilities and HIV and AIDS. Inclusion for All projects conducted skill training to improve the life of people with disabilities. Given for selected people with disabilities to improve their livelihoods, people with disabilities received skill training in shoemaking, hairdressing, embroidery, and tailoring, and were able to start generating income. Without accessible services, disabled people cannot get anywhere outside their home, block, or village. This really impedes their possibility to participate in daily activities, going to school, work, and social meetings. To empower people with disabilities in school activities, it is vital to make school buildings accessible for people with disabilities. To avoid these obstacles, World Vision Ethiopia built schools which are accessible for people with disabilities.
ልጆቹን እንደ አካል ጉዳታቸው ተቀብለን እንደ አካል ጉዳታቸው ደግሞ ትምህርትን መስጠት ነው።
In the special need classes, we teach children with disabilities according to their impairments. For instance, for the deaf, we use a sign language. For blind children, we use braille, typewriter, slate and stylus. For those who are mentally retarded, we use toys.
The Inclusion for All project provided material support such as wheelchairs, white keel, domino, and abacus, textbooks, tape recorders, braille writing paper, slates, and stylus for disabled people. In addition to this, material support for disabled students like exercise books, pens, pencils, clothes, and blankets were provided. This support motivated children to attend their classes and parents to send them to school. Although these things had been implemented, there were challenges. The challenges vary from one kind of impairment to the other. For instance, during HIV testing and counseling, people with hearing impairments are not able to discuss issues related to HIV, which are personal in their nature, as they are forced to use a sign language interpreter who doesn't have a health background. Hence, there should be health professionals who know sign language. On the other hand, to educate people with disabilities, a number of special needs teachers are needed because the mechanism of teaching one disabled person might vary from the other according to the impairment. In order to do this, a huge budget is needed. Since the inception of this project, there has been tremendous attitudinal change among the community and disabled people themselves. When people with disabilities are allowed to take part in the development programs, they become more visible to the rest of society. People will now come to see their abilities and hear their views. Society will start to accept people with a disability when they see the person instead of the impairment. Government is assigning and training special needs teachers. The Inclusion for All project somehow led foundation in terms of mainstreaming disability in development programs, that it enables people with disabilities to participate in daily society events, that it helps decrease attitudinal, institutional, and environmental barriers, and that it enables persons with disabilities to be independent and make their own decisions for life. Now, there is fertile ground for the mainstreaming disability issue. However, it needs further effort to strengthen these initiatives.